Been a long time since I made a video, and it's definitely overdue. There have been a number of changes to the deck. I won't highlight everything that was taken out, but to focus on the changes, the main things are that the deck has a better early game with Ponder, Preordain, Duress, Thoughtseize, and Spell Pierce all in the deck, as well as Seal of Cleansing for early defense against cards like Soaring and Sylvan Library. And then it has a very powerful late game card, Necropotence. I'm not going to say late game card, but a a card that can single-handedly win the game, as well as ways to get there with the Moat and the Abyss having made their way back into the deck. The mana base has also changed a little bit. There's Cephalid Coliseum for some late game fixing as a expedition map target, and there's Urborg as another expedition map target. So you can get plays like first turn Tundra expedition map, second turn Island, and then you're ready for a counterspell. If nothing happens, you sack the map and you go get Urborg, and then turn 3 Necropotence. Uh, so the potential there is very strong. Of course, Necro is also very easy to play off of Guild Warriors and stuff. So anyway, I'm going to get to some of the games, and you can see um, I've set it up. This is all of my games for the last week, and since I made the change to the deck in this way, this has Legacy Cube. I didn't really want that in there. We just want the Commander games. So anyway, since I made the changes to the Commander deck, and they were a direct result of playtesting that I did um, over the holidays in Paper Magic, actually, when I visited my friend Brian, and he's got a competitive EDH Paper Magic opponents where he lives, so it forced the deck to get better. And anyway, the effect of this is that, as you can see, for the last week, for example, I've had 0 losses. So I'm going to run through some games. I don't exactly know which ones are going to be interesting, but I will try to go as quickly as I can, and we'll find as many interesting games as we can. And let's see if I can anticipate ones that won't be interesting, then I will, of course, try to skip those. But anyway, here's a perfectly keepable hand. I love the Duress, Thoughtseize, Preordain, and all that business in another way too, because we're low on lands, and what's happened is that we're able to cheat on mana, or we're able to take advantage of the fact that we're cheating on mana a little bit better, as well as this is a great start, obviously. As well as just do more in the early game here, which means less mulligans. And it also means that when we do have to mulligan, we're more likely to have a keepable hand. Because one of the big problems I think that the deck had at one point was not so much that it wasn't. Yes, this is a quick. My opponent concedes. Let me just get in game 2 here against the same guy. So anyway, one of the problems that the deck had was that it was a little bit too inconsistent for me, and so these early game cards that we've added have fixed that, I think. Ironically, I took this guy's Call to the Grave while intending to play the Abyss against him, but he's playing a zombie deck, and so I have no Call to the Grave doesn't affect him, but the Abyss will. So that was what that was all about. Normally, I'd just let my opponent have a card like that, of course. And just kind of let this run out, and you can see like he's got a decent counter to the Abyss with the Gravecaller. But the way the timing works is if he had another creature out, he wouldn't be able to. He has to replay the Gravecaller. He can't, he can't like play it during his upkeep. So I mean, he's gonna be able to play it here. But I have Mystical Teachings now, and so that means he's not going to get any more free Gravecrawler action going, and the Abyss is just going to eat him up. So I can't remember how this turns out. Corpse Connoisseur. But clearly it's going quite well. This is a perfect example of, I don't want to say new cards, but one of the newer cards in action, the Abyss in this case. Just the ability to ignore creatures and allow you to play the game that you want to play. is probably strong enough that, and here's another example of one of the other cards that has made the cut, of course. We're going to get, da 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 da, hopefully you can figure it out. BBB win the game. Alright. So, at this point, the game's over. And this is just showcasing some of the power of the new cards. And we got the Duress and Preordain, I think we did, or Ponder, and all this other business here that's going on. Where the core of the deck's still strong, but the game plan of the deck to cheat, well not cheat, but to get Necropotence into play is just so much stronger than it was before. Because before, in the slot that Necropotence, it used to be the artifact that lets you vote, and so basically draw an extra card during your upkeep. You can contrast drawing an extra card during my upkeep to drawing, I've already drawn 10 extra cards in 2 turns. So, it was a good thing I did too, because I didn't really have that good of a hand, considering, like, that really didn't pan out too well, but as far as the cards I drew. But anyway, I probably could have just Terminus away whatever he actually Apocalypsed in the play, but I was hoping to get a concession from him right away, and I did, so we move on to the next game. Is the miss? We'll run this one out. Obviously, he's playing, Duretti. So Duretti's always a threat because it has the ability to do broken things, but I do have a heck of a draw. My opponent, though, gets things going with Duretti. So he's ramping. He's got he didn't actually discard anything useful. Kind of leave his discard pile over here because we kind of have to track that. And so now I have Moat. Against a typical red deck, that would be good enough to win a game, but that would be the card that wins the game. But anyway, so he kills some land and I bounce his Duretti with the intention of countering it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to tithe first because he killed my land, so I ended up throwing away the shackles and the moat, realizing he's almost certainly not playing a game to. He's almost certainly not playing an aggro. He's not an aggro red deck. He tries to recast his commander. Again, I can't tithe in order to buy back the forbid, so I lose it, but 12 lost dreams. Now I'm finally able to tithe. And then use the mana to vindicate his crypt and set him back a bit. Now what I'm afraid of is the red card that kills all artifacts in play and then puts all the dead ones in play. It's a living death for artifacts, so I'm trying desperately to find an answer to that. I do find Muddle the Mixture, but I think this is going to bug out. I don't recall that happening because I was looking for. Yeah, that's not right. I was looking for. I didn't find Muddle the Mixture. Did I? Yeah, because I was looking for a solution to that card, and Muddle would have solved it. So no. Anyway, bottom line is the game plays eventually. Yeah. Eventually, he goes for it. He plays. I think it's salvage, scrap, something. Anyway, he makes the play, and I have a counter, and he uses. I'm certain that wasn't Muddle the Mixture in my hand right there. Anyway, so we move in. He decides he wants to play again, so this is game 2 here. Got another really stellar draw. This time not showcasing any of the new cards, but he's got, look at this. Insanity. Turn 1, Duretti. Oh my gosh. I thought my draw was good. So he doesn't really have anything going on right now because he's got a bunch of, because of the combination of Thoughtseize, and he's just got nothing but mountains in his hand, but Duretti will fix that in short order. So goes for a Kodalka Forge Master. And although I have Swords of Plowshares, I just want to buy myself some time. And since it doesn't put it in the graveyard, the man doesn't, he won't be able to ready it back into play right there. So I get rid of Swords, even though he's got the Forge Master. I feel like what I need to do is I need to just ramp up and try to solve my problems with Necropotence. So he decides not to, or he replays the Forge Master and then he uses Darksteel Forge. Doretti's Darksteel Forge into play. So he's in a pretty amazing spot. Are we gonna bug out again? Yeah, I can't even be mad that Magic Online's gonna. Yeah. So here's what happens. This is annoying. I play Necropotence, and I think I Necro for myself down to 20 life, and then I don't think I found a Swords to Plowshares, and then I Mana Crypt this. I use Mana Crypt into the Scroll Rack, and I Scroll Rack for like 20 more cards, and then I do find the Swords to Plowshares, and my Swords is pulled out the Forge Master. And then on his turn, he doesn't do anything particularly threatening. He develops a little bit, and then I rift him into Oblivion. Um, but sad to say, we're not going to get to see that happen. But that Necropotence right there, like, just completely, immediately just wins the game. Even though my opponent had this commanding board position, Necropotence is just ridiculous. So I mean, that's why we're playing it. Here's another hand where we are able to use some of the newer cards to improve the hand in ways that we previously couldn't. In this case, just a ponder. So if he plays Talrand, I guess we don't need to use Graveyard up. And I felt pretty good about going after Crypt for Lotus since I had a Vindicate in hand, and it was probably safe to tap out. But I also had the option, if you were to tap out, I also had the option to Crypt into to Fairy and then untap 4 permanents, one of which would be Mana Crypt, and I could play Gilded Lotus with the Forbid sitting up there, and then Vindicate on the subsequent turn. But just because of how far ahead I guess I am on mana, my opponent quickly gives up, or maybe his whole entire game plan was his commander, and he just couldn't deal with having it Swords to Plowshare. I don't really know. Oh, okay, so this guy just doesn't like the law. Whatever. I guess wins like that in terms of my win percentage make up for the number of times that I've had to concede for, changing a diaper or something. Alright, so my opponent plays Jatoxian Probe, and I decide I'm going to let him have a look at the hand because I'd rather play defensively, and in a Memnarch deck I know he's going to have a ton of ramp. Here I might have been better off playing Scroll Rack though in turn 2. But having decided to go with the defensive plan, I stick with it. My opponent does walk into the Spell Pierce knowing they have it, so I'm going to take out the Ingot. I guess because he has Mirror Retriever, but I'm not actually planning to kill that creature, so I don't think he's going to get to retrieve anything. And at this point, I realize, like, it's unfortunate because it's the Jace turn where he's got enough mana for Jace, but I've got to start drawing mana, and for some reason, he decides to develop over Disrupt, which he could have killed 50% of my land with a strip mine. I think that was the play. But that works out for me. Now I can kill his lens. And we'll wait to use Scroll Rack till we have maximum information. He fetches himself a Mana Vault. So I go ahead and Scroll Rack. And I believe, can't remember exactly, but I've got Necropotence mana here, so it's looking pretty good. And I crack into that insanity. So let's do this. I don't know why I would have. Why would I have? I think I was anticipating him. You know, I wanted to Terminus, and I was anticipating him playing his commander there. But because he didn't, yeah, something's not right. This is another. This has to be another buggy replay. But anyway, at any rate, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I was doing something funky. I'm looking at the way this game was played out. a lot of the plays I see myself making don't make as much sense to me as I would have expected. Like I would have expected myself to play better than that. So, but we'll see. So he's got a heuristic study, but I've been able to pay for the, the cost of it every turn so far. Oh yeah, he gets steel Hellkite out. I do remember this. So maybe this is right. Maybe I just didn't play very well this game. It does happen sometimes. He's got steel Hellkite out, so I've got to figure out. I've got to find an answer to it pretty quick. At the same time, I'm trying to, he's gonna. I didn't want to play the well for 4 because he would just pop it for 4 and kill my well and my dynamo. Um, so he kills shackles, and I shuffle because I'm just looking for a solution here. And weirdly enough, I shuffled away the Mana Leak, but I drew it again. I think my thought was, I think what was going through my head at this point was that Mana Leak doesn't look particularly good um, in the face of how much mana he has available. So I can use Colosseum here. If the card I got was Turbine, I could proc it on his turn by using Colosseum. Remember what I fetched? Well, we're about to find out. Ah, again with the Necropotence. It's just so good. How do you not get it all the time? I don't know what I was doing, but it seems to be working. I guess I was setting myself up for a Necro later. I think I was worried about his Memnor. Oh gosh, then he gets Tezzeret out. Well, Tezzeret I can attack. He's doubling cube. That's the card under the Memnock over there. So I seem to have bought myself a lot of time. So now we'll attack his Tezzeret, of course. Okay. The scroll, I don't know why I scroll back there, but okay. I guess because I had mana floating, that's really not a good reason to do it. But at any rate, it's going to be his mana base against my Necropotence. I just have to be careful because if he Memnarchs and he steals Necro, then I'm pretty sure I lose. So I go for Mana Drain. He's got a Mana Leak. This guy does Resolve. He's able to take an artifact. He had exactly 3 mana left, but he didn't have the 7 he needed to turn the Necropotence into an artifact and steal it. So that's fine. Strip Mine is Scorched Land that produces 4 mana. Still dealing with these super annoying. And I remember at one point my opponent, he says, yeah, can we speed things up? He wants to finish this game. And I'm like, well, I would too, but you played this Ristic frickin' study and it just takes forever to deal with that card. Anyway, as annoying as the study is, I'm not going to kill it though. I'm going to attack his mana. Um, and there was a good example right there where I actually transmuted the metal to get sealed, having already used Disenchant. So there's a good example of like why I do like having multiples of each. But I kept the delta here over over the Hallowed Land, probably because of the scroll rack. Hellkite yet again. GK. I think we can handle that. I'm paying 1 for a crypt, which will produce 2, seems like a good deal. No more Hellkite for him, ever. Is a nice change. And I'm over necroing a bit each turn in order to maximize the hand quality for a trinket. Because trinket's a little hard to use when it's Mystic Study out, and it's 4 mana for the trinket and then an extra mana for whatever you fetch. So yeah, he plays Memnarch here. He's actually taken a beating from my commander. But he's only got 3 mana left over, so Memnarch is 4 to take an artifact, not 3. He comes up a little bit shy on that. He could equip it with Jute, but he knows that I have Karn in place, so he's gonna nerf his Memnarch again, and then with the hand, he could see the handwriting on the wall, so he went ahead and scooped it up. It was a pretty interesting game, I thought. I I don't like all the decisions I made, and I think that those led to that game being much longer than it should have been. So I guess that wasn't a buggy replay. I don't think I can blame my bad decisions on that. So here I'm playing against Rada Heir to Keld, which is probably why I kept his hand, because with a commander like that, the humility in my hand is quite good. So I go and dress a Reap So out of his hand. He's apparently playing. It's weird, but I've been seeing a bunch of these like red-green land destruction decks show up lately. Very strange. Different variations on them. Some with Rada, some with other commanders. They're not good, but I guess the budget. So yeah, you kill some land. That's fine. I mean, how does a land destruction deck deal with land tax? We're not going to go buggy, are we? Okay. See, I didn't even bother pinning down his commander. I just played Chromatic Lantern so that I have a counterspell ready, and then he plays Xenagos. So that's fine. Because, I mean, luckily I drew each of 2 in there. Anyhow, under fixing the deck some. So with that, looks like the play is going to be a Rift and then a Vampiric Tutor. Well, I could be wrong. And he's so low on cards, I think I countered his Worldly Tutors I just didn't want to deal with. He could be getting a creature that hits the curve where I can't counter it and it's disruptive. I didn't want to have to mess around with that. Oh, I probably got Spellrack actually, now that I think about it. I don't know, let's find out. Yep. Ancestral every turn seems good. Better than Ancestral, really. It's an Ancestral plus a card. Because Ancestral, you go down a card and up 3. Skorak Tax, you go up 3, down nothing. Alright, so I'm just letting him hit me for damage. I'm not in a huge hurry here. And I even racked away the Rift. Hey, that's a pretty good card. But I guess I decided it wasn't necessary. Alright, so now that his Planeswalker's gone, we've got Force of Will back up. And there's a Karn out there. Not quite sure what's going on here with the replay. Because I'm sure that I would have spent blue and a mana vault to counter that. Yeah, we're probably going to bug out, but I think what happened here is I counter his Tooth and Nail and he attacks Karn, and then I take the last card out of his hand, and from there, I find another counter spell and basically lock him down. Unfortunately, another bugged out replay. Kind of an interesting game though. It's neat to see, like, it's an example where Moat would surely have made the game a lot easier, and yet I even scroll racked it away because it wasn't necessary. But then again, I did the same thing with Rift, and I wouldn't cut Rift, so maybe that's not an argument for cutting mode either. Anyway, against this guy, I've got the super, like, I've got the kind of draw that kills bad decks because it's the Crucible Strip Mine lock. So we're going to find out how good his deck is. Excuse me. We've got a crypt, a map, and let's see if he can handle the strip effect that's coming. Oh, he's got Dak Faden. Holy smokes. That's funny. Alright, well, it doesn't change my plan all that much. Fortunately, Trinket Mage is going to actually kill Mr. Faden over there. So I'm going to Mystical Tutor for Rift, I think. And what I'm going to do is rift that Crypt back into my hand, attack Dak Faden, play the Crypt, the Strip Mine, and then cast Crucible World and say go. And that gives him like one turn to find an answer. But I guess because he realizes that I'm going to pick up my Crypt and kill his Dak Faden, I guess that was like his whole plan that he was banking on, so he just concedes. Yeah, if I did the play that I just described, there's a pretty good chance he'd play a land and play his Sliver Queen. He'd have 5 mana at that point. And then I just, Yawgmoth's Will, I would strip mine Yawgmoth's Will, Cyclonic Rift or Mystical, and then strip mine him again. It wouldn't be hard to have cleaned up his board, basically, is what I'm getting at that point. This guy all know all. And playing Virginia Soul Singer. And he gets the Soul Ring draw, and I don't actually have an anti-Soul Ring hand, which I usually do, but I'm usually prepared to deal with that, but since I can't beat him, I'm going to have to join him. So I don't even have to, I don't have this game memorized, but it's pretty an obvious play there, I think. And hopefully he doesn't kill it. Oh, wow, he's got something better. Consecrated Sphinx is rough. And I'm holding Terminus, so what do I do about Sphinx? Looks like the play is just develop and disrupt and hope that it gets me there. So I've got 6 mana. If I can just hit a 7th land, then I can Karn the Sphinx away. Well, chances of hitting a 7th have gone down. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So now we'll dump the Sphinx. And hopefully get him to extend a bit further so I can Terminus. Well, he doesn't. So I just decided to go for Oloro here. I could have probably recovered the Karn using Muddle, transmuting, and getting the other Disenchant. Yet again, needing to get both Seal and Disenchant in the same game, making a difference. I guess I just went with my commander. Oh, well, that was nice. Right into a Swords to Plowshares. So I transmute Muddle. And maybe that was my plan, was to get him to play his commander here. And then do this. I was going to Karn his Vinny, I think. But because I had the swords, I was able to Karn his other Oblivion Ring effect. Anyway, so he kills Karn with, oh no, he steals. He uses Blatant Fever to steal Karn, and then kills my commander with it, which was crazy. Usually I killed Dark Tutelage, because I just replay the commander. Has almost no effect. Or actually, he could have went after my hand, would have been decent. Of course, I had the Rift, so I would have just bounced Karn back to my hand and then played it against him again. So I suppose he lucked out in that regard. So I just continue using cards and mana to pressure him. Go ahead and Winter Orb to lock him down and just beat him up with Oloro. Never had Determinus or Mode or anything. Thanks to that timely disenchant, I was able to just keep the pressure on, and all in all goes down with a bit of a fight, but well, it wasn't too amazing, I guess. All right, Swerve-tastic here, playing Nath of the Guilt Leaf. It was cool that he was able to deal with Karn like 3 different times. Blatant Thievery was interesting. Could have worked out really poorly for me. I just happen to have his number that game. So, land tax against Nath of the Guilt Leaf is pretty much in the favor of the person with land tax, because random discard against a handful of lands isn't going to get you there. So I could swords this guy, but it's not really doing anything, and I'd rather, I have mystical teachings, and I'd rather mystical teachings, or mystical tutor, and do something more interesting, I think. So go ahead and fetch Mana Drain. He's playing another creature that doesn't do that much. I go ahead and just kill the other one, which will make this one, the one that's in play, smaller. Seems alright. And the main reason I did it is because Jace is coming down, or able to come down. And I was expecting him to play Nath of the Guilt Leaf here, that I just Mana Drain it in the game, right? But he plays Lightning Greaves, so I'm not going to be able to bounce this guy with Jace. But on the other hand, it's not doing much. So there's no more lands to fetch at the moment, no more basics. But there will be. As soon as we get enough mana in play to where I feel ready to play the Jace. So I'm not playing, I played the 5th land, but only because he had played a Maze of Ith, and I knew he needed to play another land to play his commander. And I want to continue the land tax, of course. But then he plays Solemn Simulacrum. Forgets to move his boots. He forgot to attack last turn too, so he was making mistakes, but they're minor mistakes. So with the Spell Pierce ready, I go ahead and just play my commander and a Jace. I've got a Coalition Relic over there, and I decided I'm going to just play a land, because he had ramped extra land in play with Solemn, so tax is still good. I can't Spell Pierce that, but it's probably worth mana draining, just because I want to protect Jace. He plays his commander. He could have moved his boots over to the commander and attacked with all of them, and then I killed the commander and Jace dies, which is an acceptable trade. But he wanted to, I guess, keep his commander around and make me randomly discard. I'm not sure that that makes a lot of sense, though, given that Jace has 1 counter. If I really care about his commander, I could just bounce it there if I was worried about it. So there, we've got the Lightning Greaves taken care of. The last good card in his hand is gone. Necropotence is down. Probably should have used Jace to bounce his commander, but it's fine, I guess. He gets a land, which was the most likely outcome. He goes for Cage Sun, I just let him have it. Because I've got Sealed Claim. Lightning Greaves just don't do a lot. They're good anti-abyss tech. They're not very great. So yeah, it just gets more and more ridiculous at this point. Future Sight Necropotence is an absolute house, because now I can just pay 1 life to keep digging until I find the exact card that I want. And then I can play it off the top. There's basically no coming back from that ever. So, and then he says something about how great it would be when somebody doesn't play blue, and I send him a small tell about when that person would be a complete fool. And then I realized that he's not playing blue, and I don't want to insult him, so I just let it go, I think. So anyway, this guy's Swerve-tastic, and he's playing Gaddock Teague, I believe. Can we get the commander up there? Yeah, Gaddock Teague. So this is really funny, because Gaddock Teague, like theoretically, Gaddock Teague should be an excellent card against me. It should be a real problem for me. And sometimes it is, but I have a pretty good draw here. So even though he gets the Gaddock Teague out before I can counterspell it, I'm just ignoring it and developing for now. I do have the Vindicate when I need to unlock my hand. He's got a Jite, which is also allows his commander to actually apply some real pressure. Normally, but I have this chance. So. What I decide to do though is a little bit non-standard here. Actually, we decide that Gaddock Teague doesn't counter, it's only non-creatures, so I can still play my commander. So what I do is use copy artifact. It'll tell me when I can unplug out. Yeah, I use copy artifact to actually clone his Jite. The thought is, if I get my commander down with an Umezawa's Jite in play, then his commander is permanently locked out until he finds a solution for the Jite. I only have to hit him once, and then after that, I don't even have to attack again. So, since he went ahead and spent some mana this turn, I'll spend some too. Just keep him off of that. So basically, he played Umezawa's Jite for me. So I don't have enough for my commander just yet. And I really don't feel like I need to Vindicate either. I have no idea if Gaddock Teague is affecting his ability to make plays, but there may be more important cards to Vindicate, so I wanted to just sit on 2 counter spells and chill out. Killing Gaddock Teague when I have a Jite in play that I can use to kill him didn't make sense to me. So it's funny, and if you noticed, I haven't drawn not one single spell that Gaddock Teague would affect. Every single card is meant 3 mana or less. So I didn't want to tap out. I have like a good board position, so I can wait, and then a couple of turns I'll be able to play my commander with the counterspell backup. But because I think I drew so because I realized like I'm going to kill his commander in other ways. I just want to keep his ability to play like suppressed. So I actually Vindicate one of his lands. Probably not a good sign if you're the other guy and you're playing against control and they don't Vindicate your commander. Probably not good for you. It means your commander's not doing much. So, yeah, this is one reason why the better commander in green white is the 2/2 who taps to get a legendary permanent. Well, a legendary card. Put it in your hand. Then you run Gaddock Teague in your deck and you just fetch him out whenever it's useful. But meanwhile, you go and get like Guy's Cradle and a bunch of other good stuff. And that's a much more threatening commander, one that I could not let sit and play for any length of time. So due to the Mystical Tear in my hand, I figure I'm just going to play the Oloro now. You can kill it, and that's fine. I've got tons of mana. I can replay it. If he has something else, like an answer card, then I've got Mystical Tear. Unfortunately, he had that acidic slime to kill his to kill the Jite, so I never really got to go with that plan. But and I can't, Yawgmoth Swill it back into play because there's nothing to copy. But look at this. I mean, even with a brainstorm here, like it's so funny how ineffective Gaddock Teague is this game. It took me a little while to like do the math on exactly how I wanted the turn to play out. But, I was going to play Shackles, and then I was going to cast Dark Confidant, and then I was going to take his acidic slime and attack him. But I guess at this point, my opponent just decides to concede. He's really far behind, and so that was an interesting, kind of amazing game. One that I was really happy to record, just strictly for the fact that it demonstrated how resilient this deck can be against Gaddock Teague, which should normally be a problem for a control. And again, sometimes is with this deck, but it was just a perfect storm of cards to deal with that kind of a threat. I mean, this guy's playing Shizo. Definitely not a mono black commander of choice. If you're going to play mono black at all, that would be Skithrix, although I would think Tysiger would make a lot more sense because it's still a super powerful black commander, but it also lets you play green and blue. So I actually copy Artifact as land because I have a very specific plan in mind, and that plan is Strip Mine Lock. And we're just going to get it on the table so we can't make them discard it. We're going to get Grim Monolith out there, so now I can get Karn onto the table very quickly and easily. And he actually, you're wondering what happened. I got the Strip Mine Lock, and then he played Bajuka Bog as his very next land. So he exiled the Strip Mine. So that whole plan, which seemed pretty good at the time, fell apart. But the backup plan of Karn was pretty good, so I go ahead and play Karn and take one of his mana sources, I think. Oh yeah, and I make a comment. I hadn't actually played a card that wasn't colorless yet in this game. And just, I feel like I'm dominating the game even though I've played all colorless cards. It's kind of funny. Well, I mean, Phyrexian Metamorph sort of has a color, but not really. Not in the mode that I played it in. And so he's doing some tricky stuff with his commander. He gets to get like tiny little value plays with his free perilous mirrors over there, but nothing that I care about enough to counterspell or worry about. So, Suntap Grim Monolith, might shooter during upkeep, and walk him out of the game with humility, and follow it up with a Necrobones. Seems like a pretty good and difficult way for a pretty good play and a difficult thing for anyone to have to deal with. Anyone mono black. I had a mana floating, so I just scroll back just because. Doesn't matter because it's all going back in my hand anyway. That's a pretty silly play. And that's it. Opponent scoops. Humility Necropotence is probably not something that he's coming back from. Alright, so a couple more games to go. This is definitely a long recording, but that's the consequence of waiting such a long time between doing these recordings, I think, is that you end up with a lot of games that haven't gotten, recorded. So this is a perfect example of exactly what I was talking about in the beginning. It's the Expedition map Necropotence game. It's just so good, those two cards together. So, sitting on a mountain. If it's Strip Mine, that's a bit of a problem. And because he has Strip Mine, I really don't want him getting too much mana advantage, so I'm going to have to mount his Talisman here. And hope that he doesn't use the Strip Mine right away, and he doesn't. I was hoping that the Expedition map would talk him into not doing that. Apparently, it worked out for me, so. We've got back to mana parity. And he plays Dryad Arbor and a Sylvan Library, so he's got the ability to get card advantage here. But unfortunately for him, I have the best Sylvan Library ever printed. I get a 4-for-1 deal on my cards off of my Sylvan Library. Not only that, but I'm able to actually cast a fairy here, and then still play Chromatic Lantern and a Necropotence for a monster refill. So I've generated both card and mana advantage. He can draw up to 3 cards and have 5 in hand. I'm going to have 7, and then that's just too much, too powerful, too quick, too early. Scoops. Pretty amazing because usually, when a Sylvan Library hits, there's a problem. And this is the last game, Negator, here, that I played yesterday. And I think I'm going to call the video there because it's getting very long. But you can see from the results that, like I said, this particular configuration of the deck just hasn't lost yet. And this last game was against Missouri. And I've got a pretty good start here, I'd say. And so I don't know why it's taking a while for him to make his turn. Oh, he's got a Soul Ring. So I think I decided that, although I don't normally do this kind of thing, because I have the Demonic Tutor and the Dark Tutelage to refill my hand, I'm going to go ahead and Mystical Tutor for a Disenchant on the Soul Ring. Yeah, that's the other thing. So I Demonic Tutor and I go get Mind Twist, because if I let him have the Soul Ring, then he's going to be able to dump his hand quickly. And then I wait one turn for the twist, because I'm planning to, I want to twist his whole hand if I can. And the Dark Tutelage will help me find the mana to do that. But also because at 2 mana, he could add a counter spell, and it probably was less important if he countered the tutelage than if I were able, if he counters the Mind Twist. So yeah, he taps out, essentially, almost completely taps out anyway. And that's perfect. X is 5. He put 2 cards into play, so we went from 7 in hand to 5. And so Mind Twist is perfectly on curve to take his whole hand, and that's what I do. On his turn, he draws and then plays his commander. And look at that, a Grim Monolith and a Strip Mine. How good is that? So the Grim Monolith gives me enough mana to play Karn and then smoke his commander right away, and still Strip Mine him. So the Dark Tutelage is just gassing me up. But he's got a decent recovery here. Dig Through Time it doesn't solve the problems on the board, but at least gets him some cards to have an option of trying to get in the game. But what he needed to find right there was like a Nature's Claim for the tutelage right away. And if he had found Nature's Claim and a Pithing Needle, he could have actually solved the board, at least up to my commander. He would have had a chance. But with Cyclonic Rift in my hand, it's pretty safe for me to play commander against a blue deck here. If he has a control magic effect, I just put it right back in my hand. Plus with Karn out, it would have to be something. I mean, if he had Treachery, Karn could just get rid of it. So as far as control magic effects go, it would have had to have been something along the lines of Gilded Drake anyway. But he's got a Birthing Pod, so maybe he can do something here. It's not looking good for him. So what can you get that's 4 mana? It's going to get anything done. Probably the best choice is exactly what he got, or one of the best choices. He got a Phyrexian Metamorph. Although, I don't know, there's a Karn in play, right? So, how good is that really? Anyway, so I just Merchant Scroll for Teachings, a very frequent target. And then I'm able to... so, I could just Teachings here and then Swords to Plowshare's Sky. I think I was like puzzling it out, trying to decide exactly what I want to do. Because I could also rift the pod back to his hand and then take it with Karn. I don't really want him to have an Oloro, so I rift the Oloro and then Karn away the pod. So he replays the Birthing Pod, not the copy effect. And so we'll just take that out of his hand. And take the Metamorph away. And since he has no cards at all, I think my mana was just a little bit clunky, like I don't have enough blue. So I went ahead and, I'm in a commanding position though, and I do have enough for 1 counter spell, so I just fetch a Forbid. It gives me something to do with these useless lands in my hand. So now he's basically forbid locked. I mean, if he makes a play, I'm going to forbid it. If he doesn't, I'm going to Karn it. And if he does nothing, of course, I also get the end of turn mystical tutor. So he makes a play, and we'll just forbid that. And tap our green monolith. And we're drawing enough extra cards here where it really is basically a lock. But because he hasn't given up, I go ahead and fetch myself a Crucible of Worlds and start locking down his mana as well. Winter Orb would have done it there, but better to do the Crucible plan and make it a one-sided walkout than to do the Winter Orb plan, I think. And now it's just a case of hammering his resources and attacking him until he concedes or dies, whichever one comes first. So meanwhile, I think I flash back my mystical teachings in order to get Empiric into my hand. And then cast it. My opponent has a mana drain, but of course I've got Forbid. Forbid with buyback when you're throwing away 2 lands and you have a Crucible in play is probably the most painless buyback you can have. Anyway, so Empiric tutored 4. What did I get? Oh, Cryptic? Sure. Stripping his land. And then stealing his card, and then Cryptic I get to Cryptic the island back to his hand and then con it out away. So and it's certainly game over at this point. I think the guy just wanted me to kill him. But when you have no permanence and no hand, probably okay to scoop. I don't know. Some people have like a thing against giving up. They consider it rude. I actually consider it courteous, but it's just me. So luckily I found myself a Tezzeret to make this even faster. With that in mind, I go ahead and just play Winter Orb. Why not? Transmute Muddle, go to Skull Rack. Just more artifacts to put into play. And Tezzeret goes Ultimate. Well, we take the last card out of his hand. Don't want him to actually have access to anything. So the point is nothing in play and nothing in hand, which is a pretty good board position for me to be in, I think. I send him a list of my channel. I like to try to introduce people to my channel and hope that maybe they'll check it out and give me some feedback or take some of my ideas and use them to either improve their deck or find holes in my defenses and use it to try to beat me and therefore improve my deck. But I'll take any of that if I'm lucky. Well, that's it. That was it for the day. I'll try to do another video, hopefully one that's a little bit quicker, I think. But I just wanted to get this out there before, well, Magic Online's going to delete the replays, and like I said, so I may not get the ones for today, but we'll get another one relatively soon, I would think. And that's all I've got. So thanks for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the deck, and that, like I said, I'll always take comments and thoughts. And until next time, I will see you later.